Good afternoon, family, good people. Obviously, I am not AJ Jones. I'm Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review, filling in for my brother AJ Jones for this hour on the lunch break. Going to be pretty quick. Tune in with some questions. I'm going to just throw stuff off the top of my not quite shiny bald head today. So, family, y'all out there, the regulars on the lunch break, tune in. Some updates of women's basketball right now in local teams, conference tournament action. The Prairie View Lady Panthers trail 32-18 at the half to Alabama State in the SWAC quarterfinal game. And the Rice Owls are surprising, leading top seed Charlotte at halftime 26-23. So hopefully PV can do a better job on women's side than the fellas did last night. Boy, if anybody had a chance to watch that game last night. Prairie View Panthers, Coach Byron Smith's team led by 6 with roughly a minute and change, 90 seconds, 2 minutes left in regulation. Missed free throws, turnovers, didn't get off shots. Game went in overtime, and they lost in overtime by a point. 64-63, had a chance to knock off the top seed in the tournament. So, but kind of finished off a disappointing season in a disappointing way. So, but TSU had a chance and advanced. It wasn't pretty, but they got the win. That's all that matters. Just this time of year, y'all know it, fans of basketball know, college basketball especially know, March is just survive and advance. And that starts with conference tournament play and moves on to the NCAA tournament. Other teams in action locally, TSU men will play tomorrow. TSU women play tonight at 5:30. That game will be on ESPN Plus, and links are posted on to the game. Specific links to the games that you can watch on ESPN Plus are posted on my website at HoustonRoundballReview.com. If you got any comments or questions, we can talk about the Rockets a little bit. A few things. I'm glad to say I found this out. Was pleasantly surprised. My man AJ Jones reached out to me because he got an email that surprised him. Family, he got an email from the PR department handling doing work with the Harris County Houston Sports Authority. And he got an invite inviting AJ to, there's going to be a meet and greet to celebrate, be a watch party this Sunday for the NCAA Men's Final Four here in town. And AJ was invited. And he reached out to me asking me if I knew who this person was because he wasn't expecting it. So I confirmed with AJ who the person was, and this goes back to family knows, longtime listeners and viewers, followers of the lunch break know. I was not happy with folks at the Harris County Sports Authority months ago when they had a launch party to launch the logo for the 2023 Men's Final Four, and I was not invited, nor was AJ, Ralph Cooper, Kim Davis, Brian Bearfield. You get the idea. So I complained loudly, vehemently, and folks at the Sports Authority reached out to me. They apologized for the oversight. Some different people in different positions, new to the job, did not have the full media contact database. So they invited me to a get-together, brunch kind of thing. And we cleared the air, got on the same page with everything. And I kind of asked them to make sure that they included the aforementioned colleagues. So it sounds like they did that. So that's good to know. So that's glad to hear that they did that. Hopefully AJ and hopefully Kim and Ralph and Brian and my other colleagues that look like me received the invite as well. And to be there Sunday for, I think it's 3 hours for meet and greet, kind of, libations, little snacks, things like that, just to watch the selection show watch party. And because, it's almost that time to announce the field of 68 on both sides, men's and women's college basketball. This will be the first year on women's side for 68 teams to be announced for women's basketball. So, and both will be on Selection Sunday. Previous years, women's announcements are on Monday for a Selection Monday, but this year, because of the expanded field to 68 teams, it's going to be on Sunday as well. because we're going to have a round of first 4 games, just like the men do. So that's good to know. Good to talk about that. If you got any questions, we can talk about the Rockets. I did a YouTube short clip earlier today about part of it was info about how to watch today's games, featuring Rice, TSU, Prairie View. Also, the beginning of it was do a little rock at the folks who had been hating on Rockets rookie Jalen Green. I think if you're a Rocket fan, followers of the Rockets, Jalen's slow start, or to my eyes, start as a rookie in the NBA wasn't great, and folks were calling him a bust. As late as January, we're calling him a bust. Number 2 pick in the draft. Jalen Green's a bust. Well, what are those folks saying now? Jalen Green has been shining since February to now, capped off with a 32-point performance in Rockets' overtime win over what's left of the Lakers. And he scored 10 of the Rockets' 19 points in overtime frame, lit up the Lakers. And he had a comment during postgame that was kind of candid. He said part of the Rockets' game plan was to go at whoever Carmelo Anthony was guarding. Whoever Melo was guarding, we were going to attack. We're going to get the ball to that person and let that person go to work against Melo. It worked. Jalen scored 32. Alperen Sengun scored 21. Josh Christopher scored 21. That's 3 of the Rockets' 4 first-round draft picks right there, combining for 74 points, 74 of the 139. The Rockets got a nice, solid core. I think the future is pretty bright for them. So Rocket fans, tune in on that. Christian Wood did not play in the game because he's battling an illness, so he's missed 2 games now. It's non-COVID related. But Alperen Sengun on offense went at LeBron James, did a good job. He didn't have to defend LeBron. LeBron played the 5 last night for the Lakers without Anthony Davis. Lakers scored 130 points. Russell Westbrook put up good numbers, and they still lost. They gave up 139 to the young Rockets. So what does that say about the Lakers? God, I know there's some Laker fans who tune in who are part of the Lunch Break family. What do y'all think about the Lakers' struggles? Who's the biggest blame for the Lakers this season? Is it Rob Pelinka in the front office? Is it LeBron James and Anthony Davis are pushing for the trade to get Russell Westbrook? Is it Jeannie Buss? Is it Kurt Rambis? Who is it? Who's the biggest person? Who's the biggest at fault for the Lakers' mess this season? Give me your thoughts on that. Give me your thoughts on how Jalen Green has played these last, 6 weeks? Is it, do y'all think it's a sign of the future, sign of things to come for the Rockets going forward? Do you think it's a flash in the pan? Which I don't. I think it's a sign of things to come for young Mr. Green. How long do you think Coach Stephen Silas will be coaching the Rockets? How long do you think he has one more season? Should he get more opportunity beyond this season and next season to turn things around and get the Rockets on a winning track, getting them back in the playoffs? Because as y'all know, Stephen Silas was hired. James Harden and Russell Westbrook were on the roster. And then they decided to leave, and the Rockets went into rebuild. And that rebuild has continued. I think, in my opinion, the Rockets are playing better. You can see signs of improvement. It's not turning into wins just yet, but they are playing better. You can see the development in the younger players, and I think that's what this season is for. And I think next season is a development season, but next season they also need to win more games than this year. So give me your thoughts on that. Keith Henning, where are you? Chime in for me on that. Give me some comments on that. I am filling in. Like I said, I'm Kris Gardner. If you don't recognize the face, if you're new to this, I'm filling in for my man, AJ Jones, for this hour on the lunch break, as we are doing working in together, collaboration. We got big things planned going forward for Jones and Media Entertainment, Jones Media and Entertainment. More collaboration, part of it will be some of my shows on Roku, Fire Stick. Be able to watch Folks Talking Sports with me, Willie Gibson, and young Andy Yanez. Be all part of Jones Media and Entertainment, as well as some other things we have going planned. And one of those things eventually will be all part of this same umbrella. But we are launching, Andy Yanez is launching Friday, tomorrow, after the Houston Cougars men's basketball game, quarterfinal game against the winner of East Carolina, Cincinnati, is a post-game show. So we'll be live streaming a post-game show on Andy's Twitter accounts, Yanez _, as well as Pod Slamajama, PAWD Slamajama, SLAMAJAMA, and also on Houston Roundball Review's YouTube channel. So simulcasting on the 3 platforms to give a chance for UH fans to discuss the game. Should be a win, but if it's not, vent about the loss. So it's going to be post-game shows for UH athletics. But my plan, family, my plan is to extend that beyond Houston athletics, to have post-game shows for many college teams in town, because it's an underserved market. I think it's an untapped market to give fans a chance to discuss the game of the favorite team, win or lose, vent on Twitter, vent on YouTube, vent on Facebook, whatever, Roku. So that'll be the plan. We're doing a trial run basically right now to the end of college basketball season. And then going forward this fall, post-game shows for football games as well. So it's all in the pipeline, all going to be part of Houston Roundball Review / Jones Media and Entertainment. So a lot of things, big plans for later this year. Part of that, we're going to need your help, need your support. If you want to contribute, if you want to advertise on the shows, please contact me, AJ, and Yanez, my website right there, Kris Gardner, thehrr.com. My email address is pretty simple, chrismgardner@gmail.com, and also kgardner@thehrr.com. But yes, we got big plans going forward to do something a little different. BC, the city has post-game shows for the Astros, the Rockets, and the Texans, but they don't have post-game shows for the college teams. So that's what we're trying to fill that gap, fill that void. So that's one of the things we have planned for content, part of Jones Media and Entertainment. So JME, we're going forward the rest of 2022 and beyond. So once again, I don't have access to, I guess you can call it, my theme music on the lunch break. We know the I'm Bad, LL Cool J's I'm Bad, so I can't even play the music. I could rap a little bit. I don't want to scare anybody off by doing that. But so I don't have the lines, about forget Oreos, eat Cool J cookies, or as I used to say back in the day, forget Oreos, eat KG cookies, because I can't bake. But a little update here in the Conference USA quarterfinal, Rice women now trail Charlotte 35-28. And in the SWAC, let's see if Prairie View has made a comeback in their matchup. The Lady Panthers are now behind Alabama State 40-25 with 5:30 left in the third quarter. That game is streaming on ESPN+. Rice's game against Charlotte is on Watt Stadium. Like I mentioned earlier, both links are posted on my website main page at HoustonRoundballReview.com, as well as thehrr.com. So different platforms. Conference USA has some of their games on Stadium, which is very limited audience here in town and throughout the country, but that's part of the deal that they made with their people. But yeah, hit me up. You can still reach out on the platforms, YouTube, Lunch Break. I gotta get my man to change, some things. Lunch Break with AJ Jones, me on YouTube. Comment there. I should be able to see them and comment. We're doing different things here, but I think everything's set up. AJ gave me a few keys to his kingdom to comment and reply to some comments as folks tune in to the Lunch Break here this Thursday, Throwback Thursday. I'm a regular, but usually on Thursdays, I'm the guest. Today, I'm the host. So Go back to my first few times when the AJ gave me opportunity back last summer to be a guest host for 4 days while he celebrated his birthday in Vegas. So that went well. I guess he trusts me to be a host again on this platform. This is the lunch break, a little shorter show, be from 12 to 1. But we're talking sports. We can talk about the Brittany Griner situation and Brittany being in Russia. I don't know too many more details than what has been made public. You know, I first met Brittany when she was probably, she was in 10th grade at Nimitz, 10th, 11th grade, around there. So known her a long time. Met her family, met her dad especially. Hope everything works out. Hopefully she returns to the States as soon as possible. Politics is involved now, so it's messy. I hope everything works out for her as quickly as possible. Hope she's doing okay. First things first, especially mentally, because Brittany has had in the past some issues, mental, issues. A lot of people, a lot of athletes, especially famous athletes. So hopefully she's doing okay regarding that. But yeah, feel free to comment on the lunch break. Send in your comments, send in your thoughts. You should be able to watch it on Roku. It's part of the BX3 network. Been started, and the family on there. So Roku, YouTube, I think LinkedIn as well. My man is everywhere on platform. I'm trying to get like AJ growing up. When I grow up, be like him and have the platforms for folks talking sports and Let's Talk Houston Rockets as well on those platforms. So, but yep, tune in. Give me your questions or comments. Prairie View now trails 41-25 in the women's game, trailing Alabama State. TSU Lady Tigers face Southern Lady Jaguars later on today at 5:30 p.m. And that game is also available on ESPN Plus. So you can tune in and watch that and see if Sandy Cooper and her squad can advance past quarterfinal to get to the semifinals in SWAC tournament play. But your thoughts on the Rockets? What do y'all want the Rockets to do? The Rockets are in a battle, quote unquote, with the other three teams for the worst record in the NBA. And it's kind of I've learned this, and I made a mistake in previous shows, and I learn from my mistakes and do better. But right now, the Rockets are 17-49. That's a winning percentage of .258. Orlando Magic is 17-50, winning percentage of .254. So as of right now, Orlando has the worst record in the NBA. Detroit is 18-48, winning percentage of .273. Oklahoma City Thunder, 20-46, winning percentage of .303. The top three teams right now, Orlando, Houston, and Detroit, if the season finished that way, would have the equal number or the most ping pong balls for the NBA draft lottery. The three of them would each get a 14% chance in the lottery. But the NBA draft lottery determines the first 4 picks in the draft. So based on that, those three teams with the worst record, the worst they could finish, the team with the worst record could possibly finish 5th if their ping pong combinations all missed 4 times. The odds are not high on that happening, but it is possible. So worst case scenario, if the Rockets had the worst record, finish with the worst record in the NBA, worst case scenario, they could pick 5th. And then that would be 4 teams behind them, jump them. And the second team, worst record, they could pick 6th. And then team with third worst record, worst they could be, would be 7th. So definitely, it's not tanking. And that's a great point of conversation for us on the family on the lunch break. Players don't tank. Players don't tank. Players want to win. Players compete and try to win every game. You can see that. You can see that this week with the Rockets and how they played against Memphis and how they beat Memphis. They beat the Lakers. You can see that. They're not tanking. Now, organizations, higher ups, they may mess around with lineups and they may come up with some mysterious injuries and start resting players and say, oh, I know your ankle's kind of bad, bothering you today, man. We're going to sit you down and give you a rest. And those situations, then maybe we can talk about tanking a little bit. But the players compete and the players want to win. So players do not tank. Let's clear that up. The Rockets, the young Pistons, the young Orlando Magic, they're trying to win games. They're not really worried about because they have jobs. They're not worried about the next year's team, guys coming in trying to replace them and take food off their table. They're not trying to win right now. The issue with these young teams is they're not very good. They're not talented enough, nor do they have the experience to compete and win game to game, game in, game out, night in, night out in the NBA. That's the biggest problem most of these teams have, the young teams. They just don't know the ins and outs. They don't know the tricks of the trade and how to get things done. So that's one of the issues you've seen with the Rockets. Rockets have had breakdowns on offense, defense, numerous times this season. Turnovers, careless turnovers, mistakes at the wrong times, plays make you wonder, what in the world were you thinking? What was this? What was that? Part of the learning process. Well, you're seeing the Rockets getting better. I'm seeing that. I wonder if fans of you guys are seeing that. Excuse me, but yeah. So just give me your thoughts on that. Prairie View is not making any inroads, any progress here in that game against Alabama State. They're trailing now 41-26 as the third quarter winds down. Got some news before the show. Houston Cougars men's head coach, Kelvin Sampson, was named one of the 10 semifinalists for the Naismith Coach of the Year award. Anybody got an idea of who some of the other 9 candidates, semifinalists, were for the award? I'm not going to give you a prize because I don't have any prize to give you because I'm on a budget and pulling that belt real tight right now lately. But who do y'all think were the other semifinalist coaches who were named to the list for the Naismith Award as candidates for the award, Coach of the Year? And I'm a voter for the national voter for the Wooden Award, the Naismith Award, and the women's basketball, the Katrina McClain Power Forward Award. And that award, Baylor's Alyssa Smith, is one of the top 5 candidates for that award. So Alyssa Smith is doing big things at Baylor. She's Player of the Year candidate for numerous awards, as well as being the top power forward for the Katrina McClain Award, which I'm a voter. So yeah, tune in, comment. Who do you think were some of the other coaches who were joining Kelvin Sampson on the list as a candidate for Coach of the Year? Everybody knows who's followed the Cougs this season, what Houston has dealt with in terms of injuries, losing Marcus Sasser and Tramon Mark to season-ending surgeries back in December. Marcus was Houston's best player. Tramon Mark, in the offseason, according to Coach Sampson, was Houston's best player. Then Tramon's shoulder injury started bothering him. Issue started bothering him with his shoulder. His performance in practice began to decline. So he went from their best player, probably would have been the lead guard if healthy, and have Marcus play at the 2 spot. But both of them are out. That's roughly 27 points per game missing from Houston's lineup. And their 2 main ball handlers are gone from the team. But Houston still managed to win 26 games, go 26-5, still won the American Athletic Conference regular season, going 15-3. Yes, they lost to Memphis twice. Yes, they got smashed by Memphis on Sunday. Memphis is healthy right now. Houston isn't. But Memphis is playing better ball. Memphis is a bad matchup for Houston. Athletically, depth. But doesn't change the fact that Houston still went 26-5, lost only 2 road games, went 15-3 in conference play without 2 of their top 3 players. So that's being objective. That's not being U of H alone. That's being objective. They went 15-3 without 2 of their best players. And that's the record they had once Marcus Sasser and Tramon Mark had the season-ending surgeries. They went 15-3, 7-2 on the road in conference play without 2 of their best players, and 8-1 at home. That's pretty good, I think. Some folks naturally don't seem to agree with that, but that's all right. Doesn't faze me any. I've been doing this almost 30 years, so it doesn't matter. I was fortunate enough to participate in a media teleconference call yesterday with Tom Burnett, commissioner of the Southern Conference, but he's also right now the chair of the men's Division I basketball committee. So I asked him a few questions, and glad to be a part of that conversation. So yes, that's national. Folks who follow me, follow Houston Roundball Review, know Houston Roundball Review, local name, global perspective. Thanks to my man AJ Jones for giving me that name, because it used to be local name, national perspective. So I'm expanding, I'm growing and getting beyond that. So global perspective, I'm trying to grow bigger and better. And as I get older, there's Keith. How you doing, Keith? Thank you for tuning in, watching you on YouTube, I see. Thanks very much for joining. Appreciate it. Got any comments, thoughts? Toss them out to me. I'm going to fill in. I'll fill in 35 minutes here on the lunch break, answer some questions and comments from the audience, because that's what we do here on the lunch break, and that's what we're going to do going forward. More content. We got more content in store for the audience going forward. Believe me. Trust me on that. Me, AJ, Willie Gibson, Andy Yanez, my man Adolphus A.D. Moore. We got football covered, basketball covered. Going to get into some baseball as well. Some rugby with the Sabercats also. Probably going to have some of that content for you going forward. So we have big plans with Jones Media Entertainment the rest of this year and years beyond. So just stick with us, support us. Supporting us means word of mouth advertising. It also means financially as well. So if you want to become an advertiser, hit us up, reach out to us, and we can talk to you about how you advertise in any one of our numerous shows that we're going to have content on Roku, on the BS3 network. And AJ is working on his own app for Jones Media Entertainment to be available also. So a lot of stuff going on, family, things in the pipeline, a lot of hot things on the stove. And hopefully at some point, Major League Baseball players and the owners will reach an agreement and have some baseball for fans to watch and go to. I'm not one of those fans. I'm not a fan of baseball, but I know plenty of people enjoy baseball, and I got colleagues who cover baseball and know the sport very well. So hopefully they'll get that resolved. Keith, since you are tuning in, whose side are you on when it comes to labor disputes between owners and players? Do you side with the owners, or do you side with the players, or you just want both sides to get it done? And that's in baseball, football, any of the pro sports, soccer, any of them. Whose side are you on? Because it always surprised me lately how, as I've gotten older, I've noticed that fans are angry at the players when in lockout situations. The owners lock out the players. The players don't do that. The players didn't go on strike. The owners locked out the baseball players. So fans are angry at the players. Why? Players didn't do this. The owners did this. There's some fans who are not happy and, I guess, lack of a better word, jealous of the salaries that the players are getting and earning. But the pro players put in their content, their time. They put their bodies on the line physically for years to become pro players, to excel at their craft. People pay to see them perform at that pro level, in person, on TV, and streaming platforms. So that's where their money comes from. And then, as well as endorsements. So that's where that money comes from. Keith, I'll put this on the screen. Keith agrees. Well, Keith said that the owners are extremely greedy people, and he always sat with the players. Thank you, Keith. I'm with Keith. When I was younger, probably when I didn't know any better, maybe in my teens, I was upset with both sides and probably had a little bit of anger toward the players too. Some bitterness, whatever. But as I've gotten older, completely side with the players in these disputes, knowing that At some point, an agreement must be reached, but knowing it's billionaires arguing with millionaires. And the billionaires will win. The longer it goes, because they got more money, they can hold out longer. But you still hope for a fair agreement for both sides, an amicable split for both sides in all the pro sports: baseball, basketball, football, soccer, hockey. The owners are greedy, and some of them are petty. They've made their money in other endeavors and just use and look at owning a pro franchise as a shiny object and don't really care about the players, the personnel involved in that organization, and mismanage it completely with no regard for the fans. There are some owners like that. But any Green Bay Packer fans out there, Aaron Rodgers getting a new deal, huge deal, at least agreed upon deal, huge signing bonus. What was it? Like the signing bonus or guaranteed money was, my gosh, what was it? $100+ million, something like that I saw. So AA Ron got his deal, played the Packers like lotto to bleed money from them. He's got one Super Bowl ring, but he's not going to be the highest paid quarterback in NFL. Good for him, man. Good for your agent. You know how to play the game. Good, good on you. Packers are desperate and didn't think they could do it any better. So, okay. But yeah, Prairie View's making a run here. They cut it to 11 on the trail at Alabama State, 43-32. With about a minute and a half left. 43-34. With a minute and 30 seconds left in the third quarter of their SWAC quarterfinal women's game in Birmingham, Alabama. Let's see how the right side women's team is doing. And kudos to new head coach Lindsey Edmond, first-year head coach Lindsey Edmond. Rice is only down by 2 to Charlotte, top seed Charlotte, 50-48 with 5:17 left in the fourth quarter of their game. That game is on Stadium. If you want to tune in and watch that, as I said, the link is posted on HoustonRoundballReview.com. Links to both the Rice-Charlotte game and the Prairie View Alabama State game are posted on the homepage of my site, as well as the links to the TSU Southern game later and HBU's game, men's game against A&M Corpus Christi, also all on HoustonRoundballReview.com, the place for y'all to go for your basketball info, as well as follow me on Twitter at VHRReview and Houston Roundball Review on YouTube. So, Keith, what are your thoughts on your Longhorns? You're a Longhorn fan, Keith? Is that right? I don't want to insult you if you're not a Longhorn fan. But Chris Beard, tournament time, Big 12 tournament is underway. And then we got the NCAA tournament announcement selection show for both the men and women taking place Sunday, when you find out the field of 68 on both sides. I think the WNBA made some news today, earlier this morning. And also, I want to see if I can pull it up here. Yesterday, something new for women's basketball. The WNBA is going to enter the world of fantasy league sports. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Let's see. I did not write it, but I know I heard about it. Chris Beard. AJ is not a fan of Chris Beard. Chris Beard he's a taskmaster. Either you like him or you don't. He's an old school dude. AJ doesn't like some of his antics. I agree with some of those issues too, but Chris Beard and Kelvin Sampson are kind of cut from the same cloth. So I respect what Chris Beard is doing. So let me see and put it up here. Yes, here we go. I don't know if I want to mention the sponsor's name, but the WNBA, there will be a, oh no, this is a different thing. There's going to be a women's college basketball bracket for the tournament, sponsored by two people. Dick's Sporting Goods, one of them, and Just Women's Sports. So that's new, with prize of $150,000 for first place for the women's college basketball bracket. So that's something different. And then we also got, here we go. I thought I had written it. ESPN is launching the first full-scale fantasy women's basketball game. It's going to be a season-long fantasy game dedicated to women's basketball. The game will be open for signups in early April, ahead of the start of the 2022 WNBA season, which begins Friday, May 6th. More info is on my Women's Hoops blog, which you can go to at HoustonRoundballReview.com or directly at womenshoopsblog.thehrr.com. So women's basketball, pro and college, is finally getting so much more attention and appreciation and support to generate interest from the corporation. So that's a positive on both sides. One thing also noted, ad week, the advertising numbers. I read this yesterday for the men's tournament. There wasn't any info available on the women's tournament. All the ad spots for the upcoming men's tournament have been filled already. Millions and millions of dollars. Company sponsors have already scooped up all the ad spots for the men's tournament. Even though I forgot about this, and listeners, Keith, maybe you forgot or did not realize it. I forgot about it. But the Final Four this year, the men's Final Four, will be on TBS. T as in Tom, not CBS. It's going to be on TBS, Turner Broadcasting. So the audience won't be as large because the audience numbers, subscriber numbers for TBS are smaller than the audience for CBS. But despite that, all the advertising spots have been purchased for the men's tournament already. You know, this year's tournament will be the first one with larger number of fans in the building. It's kind of post-COVID. Last year was in the bubble. So companies are excited and ready and willing to spend money to advertise for the tournament, the men's tournament. And I would assume a similar arrangement is happening for ESPN for the women's tournament. Hopefully, anyway. The men's Final Four takes place in New Orleans. The women's Final Four takes place in Minneapolis. But put it up, I guess, yeah, well, this is now lunch break and not KYK. I can put that up there. It's part of the NCAA's deal. Folks who are listening and not seeing it, Keith says the arrangement, that's bullcrap. A major network should carry the dance. Just the Final Four, Keith, just the Final Four, because, you know, the first opening rounds will be on part of the Turner family of networks. So we got CBS, Turner, TBS, TNT, and True TV. The tournament is the only time every year that I will watch True TV. And yet, the rest of the year, I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna have to hunt to find out where True TV is located on my TV, because I don't know, except in March. Because other than that, I do not watch True TV. So games will be on either CBS, TBS, Turner, or True TV, and then the men's Final Four will be on TBS. So that's how they arrange. That's part of the TV deal, that $1 billion deal that the NCAA signed with Turner Sports. So that's how that's all going to work out. A part of women's basketball, the majority of the games, women's tournament will be on ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, but a few of the marquee matchups will be on ABC. And most likely, I'm assuming, it has been announced yet because, you know, the bracket has not been set, but I'm assuming that's going to be probably involve UConn and hopefully whoever, maybe South Carolina faces, or maybe Stanford. You know, some of the nationally recognized teams will be games on ABC rather than ESPN, ESPNU, ESPN2 for the women's tournament. So a sign of progress for them. Once again, if you're new to this, tuning in, wondering where, that's not AJ Jones. Who the hell is that? I'm Kris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review, filling in for my man, Andre AJ Jones, here on the lunch break on BS3, on Roku, on YouTube, on the lunch break as well. Different platforms branching out. But yeah, I'm filling in. AJ asked me to fill in, so I'm doing that for him. So feel free to comment, send in your comments, and I'll try to answer them in these final moments of the show. And if you are able, if you got time this evening, tune in to me, Andy Yanez, and Willie Gibson on our show, Folks Talking Sports, at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, Mr. Gibson. And we're going to discuss more college basketball. And we have a special guest on by the name of the owner. His name is Christian McCollum. He owns Play Action Pools. And it's a little different. Play Action, it's a sports term, but you can tune in. He has pools, little office pools kind of thing. So you want, it's that time of year. You and your co-workers want to get together and have an office pool for the tournament. We're going to discuss how you can do that via Christian's platform. And there's going to be a Houston Roundball Review pool created for people to participate in. So more details on that we'll provide later on this evening on Folks Talking Sports, airing on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. So we'll see how it all plays out. And, it's just one of those things we'll figure out as we're trying to expand, trying to broaden our horizons, meet larger audiences, reach more people. And part of that also is we need more support. We want to do more. We've done more with less for quite a while. Now we're trying to do more with more. So that's the whole point of reaching out, working with Christian McCollum at Play Action Pools, AJ Jones, of course, with Jones Media Entertainment. So that's what we're doing here. And let me see real quick. Hold on, people. Live on the air. Things happen. I got to get a new cat girl. Will. All righty, here we go. It's hard taking care of a disabled parent, trying to do her best. And that's another reason why I'm trying to branch out with younger people to help me so I can spend more time taking care of my mom as her health declines. And it's becoming more and more obvious that we have to do something more, different values, different places for her, because it's getting more and more difficult to take care of her as she gets older and approaches her 79th birthday as I approach my 50th birthday. So bear with me. That's what happened, I think, 2 weeks ago when I had to leave AJ in lunch break. I had to take care of her. So that's now two times in 2 weeks. So it's more and more frequent now, and that's a concern. So I'm going to have to handle that, address that going forward. But life, this is life. Just got to keep dealing with it going forward. And she's okay. Stressful for me very much to take care of that. And that's why you may see content on my end become infrequent, because I'm spending more and more time taking care of her. So just got to deal with that. Pray for us, pray for her, and we'll get through it. That's all I can say about that. We'll get through it. But yep, we got a few more minutes here on the lunch break. And what are your thoughts on the Rockets? Thoughts on how they did last night against the Lakers? Where the Lakers go from here? I think LeBron is going to. This is me talking. This is an assumption. I don't have any inside info, but I think LeBron's knee issue, the knee soreness, and the Lakers' struggles, I would not be surprised if LeBron shuts it down for the rest of the season. They're not going far with AD or not with AD. AD isn't healthy. LeBron's knee is bulky. So I would not be surprised if LeBron just says, I got to stay healthy going forward. I can't do it. We're not going to go far this year. It's best interest for me. I need to shut it down. So that's my take on that. I think that's possible because some of the things some of the plays in the game last night for LeBron, you could just tell he did not have the explosiveness that he usually has. And yeah, he's 37, But if his knees were healthy, he could finish more at the basket, more aggressively, attack more. Just sitting there, just wasn't there for him. And I think it's more because of his knee is bothering him. And, knee issue is significant. And so we're going to see how it all plays out with him. That's my thought on that. But Alperen Şengün, once again, he had 21 points last night, played almost 40 minutes of the overtime game. Post game, which you can go to Houston Roundball Review's YouTube channel and watch post game comments from Alp and Jalen and KJ Martin and Coach Silas. Alp declared yesterday Rockets Rookie Day because of how well the Rockets rookies played. Alp, Josh Christopher, Jacob, and Jalen Green combining for, 74 points? 74 of the Rockets' 139 points in the Rockets' overtime win over the Lakers. So the game was tied at 120 at the end of regulation. Rockets outscored the Lakers 19-10 in the extra frame. Were a perfect 5 for 5 from 3 in overtime. I think they were 7 for 8 overall in overtime. Jalen Green was 4 for 5 from the floor in overtime, scored 10 of the Rockets' 19 points. 10 with 32 points in that extra 5 minutes. Rockets got that victory. So they're playing better. I think they've played better since the All-Star break. Playing better has not resulted in a lot of wins, but the improvement is there. So that's a sign going forward for the Rockets. Sign of the future. It's, I think, a positive. Jalen Green says, he was more aggressive last night against the Lakers, and he wants to be the best. And he said that, borrowing from the Nature Boy Ric Flair, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And that's what he wants to do. That's his goal. That's one of his objectives, and that's what he did. So good for him. And also go to the YouTube channel, the Houston Roundball Reviews YouTube channel, to hear Alperen Şengün talking in English. A few words here and there. So if you haven't heard that, because he can't speak English, trust me, he can't speak English. He's just not very comfortable doing it on a consistent basis yet, but he is getting more and more comfortable. So you can listen to him answer a comment in English. And most of his post-game press conference was he answered questions via his translator or whom. But go to Houston Roundball Review. A lot of content there. I'm branching out, doing more things on the channel as well, in print and clips, little shorts, YouTube shorts, also trying to do my thing, reach more people that way. But yep, as we hear these final mentions, we need to see once again, check up on how the local teams are doing women's hoops right now in Turner action. Wow, look at that. Duke, Syracuse. Syracuse giving Duke trouble without Buddy Boeheim. It's only a 2-point game late in the second half. But let's see. Let's tune in to Rice. Rice is down by 4 to Charlotte with 31 seconds left in the Conference USA quarterfinal game. Rice women down by 4 to the top seed, Charlotte. And let's go to the SWAC and see how Prairie View women are doing against Alabama State in a matchup of 3 versus 6. It's a 9-point game. Alabama State leads PV 51-42 with 6+ minutes left in the fourth quarter. That game is on ESPN+. Rice Charlotte winded down. The game is on the Stadium. Tune in later on ESPN+ for TSU women versus Southern. And I think a 5-4 matchup on that side. So if you missed it last night, Prairie View men on a seed in the SWAC tournament quarterfinal lost in overtime to the top seed Alcorn State, 64-63. Prairie View they were up six with less than 2 minutes left in regulation and didn't get it done. Were unable to close out the game. Game went in overtime and lost by a point. Free throws, both teams didn't shoot free throws well down the stretch, but ref called a foul on PV with 1.6 seconds left in overtime. Game was tied, and Alcorn State made the first free throw, missed the second. Prairie View called timeout, set up a play with 1.6 left. After the timeout, they half-court heave did not go, and Prairie View season ended in overtime. Prairie View men's season ended 64-63 to top seed Alcorn State Wednesday night. Women's team Prairie View is down by 11 today, right now, with 5:55 left in the fourth quarter of their matchup with Alabama State. So hopefully we'll see if PV can come pull off that victory. The TSU men's team won yesterday. Game wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty, but right now, time of year, doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be pretty. Just need to win. TSU beat Jackson State 54-50 in their quarterfinal matchup. John Walker III came through for TSU off the bench. I think he scored 14 points, had a double-double off the bench for Coach Jones and his Tigers. So they advanced on to the semifinals. And they'll play tomorrow in a SWAC semifinal. So a lot going on in town. It's basketball season. You know, it's basketball. It's tournament time. It's March. It's the month of March, the madness of March. This is my month. It's my birthday month. I'll be a ripe old 50 on Monday, March 14th. So hopefully, God willing, I'll make it to that day, celebrate that day. Probably spending more time taking care of my mom, but you know, such is life. That's part of my lot in life to do that. Been doing it since I was 5, honestly. So just doing that. That's one reason why I began the Houston Roundball Review, was to enable me to spend more time with my mom. My mom's been in Port Health my whole life, so I've taken care of her the majority of my life. So that's what I've done the majority of my life, while also trying to grow the Houston Roundball Review. So when I tell you, when I grind the Houston Roundball Review. I put a lot into making the Houston Roundball Review a success since 1994. Not many people in town were on a conference call yesterday with the NCAA chair of men's basketball, commented on Rice women's basketball yesterday, HBU men's basketball, TSU men's basketball, Prairie View men's basketball, and the Rockets, all in one day. And Coach Sampson had a press conference yesterday with us. All of that was yesterday. Took care of that. Did all that. That's all available on Houston Roundball Review. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate that, man. It's what I do. It's what I was put here to do. Put here to take care of my mom and cover basketball. That's what I'm meant to do. I'm doing it. So that's what I'm going to continue doing as long as I can. So appreciate my man, AJ Jones, for the opportunity, for filling in for him as we got to find a few minutes here on the lunch break here on Throwback Thursday. And this is also available. Hope you're tuning in on Roku, on BS3 on Roku, as well as on AJ's YouTube channel. I think this is also on LinkedIn as well. My man got platforms all over the place, you know. So, but yeah, that's what we're trying. That's what we're branching out as well. He even got it still doing his show on Facebook because I got rid of Facebook. But the lunch break is out there. Got additional outlets for additional content coming to the family, the audience going forward. We got plans, big things planned for the rest of this month and the rest of this year. So tune in. As I stated, one of my mentees, my co-host, Andy Yanez, is going to have a post-game show Friday after the Houston Cougars men's game, which starts at noon. The game will be on ESPN2. So I know who they face. They're going to face either 8th seed Cincinnati or 9th seed East Carolina. They're playing right now, actually. Need to pull up that score. But the Cougars will play tomorrow, and Andy's going to do a post-game show, streaming it on the Houston Roundball Review's YouTube channel, but also on Andy's Twitter accounts at Ayanez_5 and Pod Slamma Gemma. And Pod is spelled PAWD SLAMA Gemma. Pod Slamma Gemma. And obviously that's a play on the tallest fraternity in Texas, Phi Slamma Gemma, which Akeem Clyde Michael Young made famous back in the 80s. Kind of ironic. Andy was not even a blink in his folks' eye then, back in the 80s, 83, because he was nowhere around, because I think he's like 22 now. I'm 50, so I knew about that. I lived through those days. But yeah, he's part of Paul Slamma Jamma. So Houston Cougars Let's Rage Cougs will be streaming and simulcasting on YouTube and Twitter tomorrow. That platform, that idea, that venture of post-game shows for the college teams, we hope to expand for not just UH. My goal is to have it for post-game shows for TSU, Rice, etc., going forward in the fall. Not just basketball. We're going to try to do football also. So work with us, grow with us. And that's what we're going to do going forward. One of the other avenues that we're going to provide content for you is post-game shows for the college team. And probably with my man Adolphus A.D. Moore, we'll put it all the same umbrella, do some Texans as well for post-game. So different things, different ideas we have planned for you, the family, the lunch break family, you, the sports fan. And y'all know how AJ and I do. We chop it up here on the lunch break. We don't just talk about sports. We can talk about that, other topics. We're well versed in other discussions, other things to discuss and talk about. So that's what we're going to do, continue doing on these platforms. That's what these platforms allow us to do. So we're going to discuss sports and more on our shows. So Keith, Hennig, thank you very much for your comments. Thank you for tuning in. Looking at the halftime game now. East Carolina, Cincinnati. ECU leads Cincinnati 41-40. And that game is on ESPNU. That is a first-round game in the American Athletic Conference men's basketball tournament. Let's see. Got a final update here. Prairie View women's basketball is down 8 to Alabama State with 3:48 left in the fourth quarter. See, we got a final score of the Rice women's game. Let's see. Rice lost to top seed Charlotte 59-53. So Rice's 7 players, their season, they had success in conference play, ends with a 6-point loss in the quarterfinals to the top seed Charlotte team. So, Ivan, what's up? How you doing? Put that up there. Thank you for tuning in. As well, recognize you from last week's show when I was on with AJ on lunch break on Friday. And this is what 3 Queens and a King, right, Ivan? 3 Queens and King, I think. And that show is available as part of BS3 network on Roku. So it's a family, man. It's a family. We're all growing, sharing our content with you, the audience, you, the viewers and listeners. That's what we do. So we're here to provide content for you. So grow with us. Help us grow. Help us be better. Tune in. Critique us. Spread the word with other people. Queen, 3, and King. There we go. Let me put it up there. Put that up there for everybody to see. Let me get it right. So there we go. Queen, 3, and King. All right. So I need to tune into that because it's 7 p.m. on Tuesdays, if I remember correctly. So I need to tune in, but I have to catch it. Probably won't catch it live until basketball season is over because right now it's just too busy. But indeed, this is fact. BS3 Network is a talented, growing family. Amen. Indeed. I tuned in. I got the app. Thanks to heard about it from AJ Jones. So we'll hopefully try to be part of that also going forward. But like I said, family, audience, we got plans. We got content, ideas, creation for you to enjoy and share with your friends and colleagues. So BS3 Network is part of that platform for us to share with you. So that's what we're going to do. As I wind it down here in these closing moments here on the lunch break on Throwback Thursday, shout out to my man AJ Jones for, as I've said to him many times as I've been a guest on his show, he gave me a lifeline here in town when the other local stations ignored me. Looking forward to this then. AJ is going to be on the show. All right. You didn't tell me about that. I got to definitely watch that then. Oh, cool. All right. Got to watch that. Queen, 3, and King. All right. Tune in at that. I'm looking forward to that then. But yes, AJ gave me a lifeline for years. What, we're going 3 years now, maybe? When the other radio stations, sports stations in town ignored me. And he invited me on his show on the lunch break. And being on his show, I got the inspiration to stream my own shows. And that's what I started doing. Yeah, he's terrified. I'm terrified for him. So yeah, But I'm going to tune in anyway. I'll make fun. I'm going to text him and say, man, you're a brave man for being on the show. But okay. But as we wrap it up, thank you as always for tuning in to the lunch break here on Throwback Thursday. I am Kris Gardner, filled in for AJ Jones, Andre AJ Jones today. I think he'll be back on in this spot on Friday on his show on the lunch break. Tune in for him. But as always, one more reminder, I will be co-hosting with my man Indiana's and Willie Gibson this evening on Folks Talking Sports, available on Folks Talk Sports Twitter account, as well as Houston Roundball Review's YouTube channel. That'll be at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. So tune into that. And let's rage Cougs tomorrow, post-game show after the Houston Cougars men's basketball game. So it should be around, the game starts at 12. So unless it goes in overtime, I think the show will start around, at the latest, 2:30. So that'll be available on Houston Roundball Review YouTube as well as Twitter at @Giannis_5 and Pod Slamma Jamma. Thank you very much for everybody for tuning in. See you next week. Y'all be safe. Take care. Peace.